Hey everyone, it's Andrew. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for coming. I hope this week's stream we don't have the technical issues we had last time. That was very frustrating, but I think they're all sorted out now. Please tell me if there's anything wrong this time, if you're getting any lag. Let me know, and I'll try and fix it. We'll see how we go. It's so good to see you all here, especially a day late. I really appreciate you guys still being here. Talzan, how you going, man? Can see some familiar names. Dragnos, I feel like I've seen you before as well. Thank you so much for coming. I know it's a day late. Yeah, busy yesterday. Had to do something. Yeah, went to a funeral, which was very sad, but all good. We're okay now. Things are good. And I'm so glad you guys can be here a day late with me. It's still fun, and we still got to talk about Ahsoka. There is so much we have to talk about this episode. Once again, every week I say the same things. I've prepared an entire list, and we're gonna see how we go. There's so much to discuss. First of all, Coruscant. We were on Coruscant. We're going to talk about Coruscant. We have to talk about like Mon Mothma. We have to talk about Balin's skull. We have to talk about the the night troopers, the useless stormtrooper-like night troopers. We have to talk about the Anakin hologram. Lots of things. Got a whole list going. It's going to be a fun stream, I hope, and I hope you can all enjoy along the way. If you can do me a favor, please like the stream so more people see it. Like the video, that'd be a huge help to me. And we're going to kick things off. Also, I thought like doing this a day later as well, it's kind of interesting because I'm sure this will have given a lot more of you a chance to see the show. Not all of you, I'm assuming, watch the show as kind of as soon as it comes out, you know, like within an hour we're basically streaming. So this is kind of cool, and I'm curious to see how many people come, or how many more people have been able to see the show. Thanks guys, I really appreciate that in the chat. No, it's all good. We're all cool. Things are good now. Everything's good. Sad day yesterday, but yeah, things are good. Yeah, let's go. Let's talk about Ahsoka. Can you guys also? I thought, all right, let's start off like there's a couple other things I just want to mention. I don't know if how many of you guys live in Australia or live in Melbourne or are going to Melbourne next week. I'm going to be at an event called PAX, which is like a gaming event. It's like a big gaming convention similar to Gamescom or Comic-Con, but for full gaming. So I'm going to be there. I don't know how many days I'm doing. It's a 3-day event. I'm going to be there at least 2 days, I reckon. I've got a 3-day pass, but I'm not sure I'll go all 3 days because that's, you know, a lot of time to spend in a convention hall. But we'll see. So if you're coming, please, yeah, come say hi. I'd love to see you. That'd be awesome. And I'm going to be sharing lots more about that, like on Instagram, maybe some stuff on Twitter as well. So come follow me on those if you're not already. That'd be sweet. I got some fellow Aussies here from Australia, from Queensland. How's it going, guys? Good to see you. All right, cool. Let's talk about Ahsoka. First of all, Coruscant. This is the first time I think we've seen Coruscant in this show, right? And at this point, I didn't even realize kind of it was Coruscant. It was just like it kind of threw you straight in there. It was so unexpected right from the beginning of the episode. It's like, oh wow, we're like literally on Coruscant. I thought that was pretty. I don't know. Every time we see Coruscant, there's something magical about it. Although that said, I really didn't enjoy that episode of The Mandalorian, the one where it's just you know, what are you, the scientist guy walking around the streets of Coruscant for the whole episode. That was kind of long and drawn out, and it's all about New Republic, and I totally get it. Oh, WA, you're here as well. Queenslanders, so many Queenslanders, man. Beautiful weather. Watching this in New Zealand, New Zealand's great. I love New Zealand as well. I was in Andor. Oh, you're right. No, not Mandalorian. Andor. Thank you. Thank you. Sydney as well. My man, Sydney people. Where you from? LA? Dudes, we've got people from all over the place. America. Are there any Europeans here as well? I'm sure there's some people from Europe too. What time is it for you though? It's probably a really bad time for you now. Most Europeans should be asleep. Hawaii? I've been to Hawaii. Hawaii's awesome. Love it. All right. You should not get a mullet. No, that's a terrible idea. Please don't get a mullet. Yeah, all right. I'm going to give my opinions on the Night Troopers and Enoch. All of that. It's coming up. So many things. Yeah, like I said, Coruscant. Yeah, and that Andor episode really didn't do it for me. But cool to see Coruscant making a return for this show, and for, you know, to see it here, to see it back, and also to see kind of the back end of what happens and how the New Republic works behind the scenes, and Captain Ziono, or what's his name? Sorry, Senator Ziono, being the most annoying senator I think I've ever met. My goodness, I hated his character so much. He was so just like, I mean, obviously he's supposed to be the villain in that scene, and he's pestering the others, and he doesn't believe Hera. But he's just like a complete fool, and it was bothering me so much. And I'm not even saying it's his character from a writer's perspective as well. I'm not sure that's the kind of, like, would there really be someone that's that skeptical of a threat of the Empire returning or of an Imperial remnant? Even the idea that an Imperial remnant can exist seemed to baffle this guy. And I'm like, hello, do you see what galaxy you're living in? He's like, oh yeah, talking about Jedi, but they're not Jedi, and space whales and all this like fantastical stuff. And I'm like, mate, you live in the Star Wars universe. You live in this mystical world where like time travel and travel between star systems is just like the norm. Surely you can conceptualize the idea of of this stuff being like normal, like that exists in your galaxy, man. I don't know, he really bothered me, as I'm sure he did for everyone. Yeah, and then he called C-3PO a mere droid. It's like, man, that's like a death sentence 100%. If Can you imagine this Xiono guy, but in the Empire? Can you imagine him like saying this stuff to Darth Vader and having this like level of incompetence and level of just, distrust and stupidity, blindedness? Darth Vader would have like force choked him, like he wouldn't have made it past the first 5 minutes of the movie. Do you know what I mean? All the New Republic people, because they're peaceful, we're going to be like, all right, this guy, we're just going to chill with him. We're just going to, we're going to let him be. We're going to have him say his word, say his piece. And he was so dominating that room. And that's part of what bothered me about it. It was like, he had such like I don't know, just like a presence in that room where he was the one who was just complaining and whinging the entire time. And it's like, C-3PO just walked in and you're calling him a mere droid. Exactly. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Dude, the guy was literally the one of the guards was like roughing C-3PO up. C-3PO kept trying to get past him. Do you guys notice that? And the guy is like holding him back. It's like, it's C-3PO, get your hands off him, man. Far out. So disrespectful. But that said, I really enjoyed C-3PO's cameo. I thought it's one of the better that they've done in Star Wars in general, to be honest, because of what it meant. I think it's because of kind of the relation to Princess Leia, Senator Organa. Obviously, sadly, Carrie Fisher passed away a few years ago, and had she still been alive, it's likely that she would have actually been in this series, I think. I think she would have agreed to do it, and I think, we would have likely seen her come in this scene. So the fact they're using C-3PO to kind of, relay her messages and keep her spirit alive, I thought that was really special, and something I really appreciated from, the writer's perspective, that they decided to do that. Also, yeah, the fact it was Anthony Daniels, you're right, yeah. I don't know if it was him in the suit, though. Is there any confirmation that Anthony Daniels was in the suit? He plays C-3PO, the actor. Because it was definitely his voice. He was in the credits, but I don't know if he was actually the one wearing the armor. I assume the guy would be like, in his late 70s, early 80s now, right? So it's hard to imagine he would still be the one wearing this, the C-3PO outfit, especially considering how hard it was to wear, ever. Like, even when he was making the original trilogy or the prequels, by the time they'd developed, costumes to a point where it's like as comfortable as can possibly be, it's still one of the most awkward things to wear. It was also I don't know, like his posture seemed different as well. Like he leaned back in a different way that I don't remember him doing. So maybe they've changed kind of the way the suit works, but yeah, I really don't think it was him. Yeah, I think it was just his voice. Yeah, I agree with you guys. Yeah, totally. Which is fair. The guy's old, you know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. I just wanted to mention, while we're talking about Princess Leia and C-3PO, I'm also really glad that they didn't do a deepfake with Princess Leia and with Senator Organa. I'm really glad that they chose to take this option for a cameo instead of, digitally putting Princess Leia in the show, because I think that would have, it's just a bit cheap nowadays. It feels that way, and this was more a tasteful way of doing basically like a Princess Leia reference, but also, the whole C-3PO. Yeah, I thought it was a much nicer, more respectful way of doing it. Enjoyed that. Ezra and Obi-Wan are space Jesus. I can see that. Would you say it's Ezra, or I'd say Ezra. Yeah, definitely Ezra. His walking was kind of weird. It's C-3PO. What do you expect? Yeah. All right. We got lots more to talk about. I talked about Xiono, talked about C-3PO. Oh, in that scene as well, we have to talk about Chopper, man. He's like getting angry. I love that. Chopper's like maniacal behavior. He's just like ready to kind of kill anything and just do what he wants. He's so like edgy, and I love that, he was basically like ready for a fight. It's like Chopper, man. He's like a little tiny droid, like little little guy, and he was ready to go, have a fist fight with Senator Xiono. I love that. I love that moment. And I would pay to see that fight. Do you know what I mean? I would pay. I hope that Senator gets it coming. I hope Chopper gets to like zap him or something like that and stun him. I think something like that could potentially happen down the track. Yeah. Huyang, man. Huyang is like Huyang has become one of my favorite droids, I think, in all of Star Wars. And part of that is honestly because he's portrayed by David Tennant. And the job he's doing with the voice acting, I think, is honestly really, he's bringing so much character. And this is a character I was really skeptical about initially. I was really kind of worried that he was gonna just be kind of boring and be that like kind of dumb comical relief, which he really hasn't become. Even the scene where he's, Ahsoka is like ready to jump out the ship and like land on the planet, and he's like, oh, well, it wasn't my fault because of my, he like screwed up last time or whatever, he missed the landing. Like, he's got so much personality for a droid that is 25,000 plus years old. He has so much personality, which is another interesting thing about him. He's literally, I made a clip about this last week, I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but yeah, Huyang is has to be one of the oldest, if not the oldest, still functioning droid in the entire galaxy. The guy is literally over 25,000 years old. No one really knows where he came from. There are rumors that he showed up at the Jedi Temple in a box one day and was just like, yeah, I'm Huyang. And according to Huyang, he's still 75% original parts. What era? Like what era would he have been from? Like the Old Republic, right? What's 25,000 years ago? What era of Star Wars would be like even past the Old Republic? That's earlier than that, right? So this guy has literally seen every Jedi. Like Yoda's age, right? Yoda's like 900 years old. Yoda's age is like nothing in this guy's life. It's like, such a small percentage of this guy's life. He would have seen Yoda as a youngling. How crazy is that? I don't know if we should touch Yoda. Do you guys think they should go deeper into Yoda's backstory and we should learn more about Yoda? I'm not sure. I kind of like that he's, a mysterious character, and I think Huyang's going to be that way as well. I think they're going to kind of leave his origin story really just in the dark, so that there's always a bit of mystery about it, and you kind of, he was just, Huyang's a constant. He's always been there, and hopefully he always will be. I don't think they're going to kill his character off. There's no way they can do that. He's too wholesome and lovable, and yeah, has really grown on me. He's really grown on me. Love for Huyang. You guys like Huyang? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, everyone likes Huyang. No Yoda, correct. Yeah, done. This episode's title I thought was really interesting. This episode was called Dreams and Madness, and I think there's a lot of ways we can understand what that means. First of all, in terms of dreams, Thrawn has a dream. Thrawn has a dream of returning to the galaxy and returning to power. Balin Skoll has a dream, and we still have no idea what that dream is. So I guess that's the dream side of it, but then also the madness side of it is also what they're kind of aspiring to be and to become. So Thrawn is, going after power. He wants to return to power, and that's both a dream and madness because of the destruction and terror it's likely going to bring to the rest of the galaxy. And then, of course, we have Balin, who seems like, we still don't know what he's doing, but it seems like he's going for kind of a galaxy reset kind of thing. Like, the idea of the Sith and the Jedi is something he is no longer, he doesn't want to see that continue. He doesn't want to see conflict. He's looking to end all conflict and end everything. But he also, his like kind of infamous quote from the first episode, I believe, was, one has to destroy in order to create. And that is something that, is quite frightening, because obviously there's a darkness within him, and he is a villain of the series, even though he seems kind of like more of a gray character. Like, we don't really know which side he's on. He's on his own side. He's kind of like a rogue element in all of this. And I loved his duel with Ahsoka, and I loved his kind of confidence. That was the real thing that stood out to me during that duel. Did you guys notice his confidence? Like, Ahsoka showed up, and he was like, I didn't expect to see you here. So clearly Ahsoka coming here wasn't part of his plan, and he on some level knew that Ahsoka wasn't dead. He knew that he hadn't killed Ahsoka, I'm assuming. So, what's his deal? That's basically what I'm trying to get at. What is he actually doing, and why is he, even discussing this at all? Like, what's his purpose for where he's going, and what his intention is for the galaxy. I loved his duel with Ahsoka, not only because the choreography is, I think, some of the best we've had in this entire show, and honestly, all right, I'm going to say it, some of the best Disney Star Wars choreography, lightsaber choreography duel we've had. Definitely some of the best stuff since the prequels. So we'll see how we go. I don't know. I just like that. Yeah, I really liked that his character had that confidence in his duel with Ahsoka. She shows up, he didn't expect her to be there, and he's like, okay, I'm just gonna kill you. I'm gonna try and kill you. I'm gonna fight you off because you can't interrupt my plans. And there was no hesitation and also no fear. You would think that a character who is going for some grand plan and seemingly has some giant intention of, I don't know, purging the galaxy, he's doing something on this planet we don't really understand and don't know yet, but he has a grand master plan, something that's major, something major that's going to happen. And it's kind of going to be interesting to see, I guess, where that goes and, what his true intention here is. But also the fact he was so confident and didn't really seem put off by the fact Ahsoka showed up. Like, he's just happy to get on with things and knows that whatever he's doing is going to work. And that could be his downfall. Here's the sad thing. We're only going to get one more episode of Balin Skull, and then that's likely it for his character forever. So there's a few things that I think can happen in the next episode. Either he's going to die, he's going to be killed, and his plan won't work, or his plan will work, and there's going to be something, I don't know, regarding the outcome of it, that maybe he's sacrificing himself. Maybe that's part of his plan. Maybe that's why he sent Shin Hattie away and, has given her another purpose, another intention, and says her path lies elsewhere. Or maybe he's going to be stranded on this planet and we're never going to see him again, and maybe he's only going to show up in kind of expanded Star Wars media like comics and books and things like that. Obviously, the actor Ray Stevenson passed away, so this is the last look in the next episode we're going to get at Balin Skull, which is so sad and is just so tragic. And for a character that is really, I think, I haven't seen anyone say anything bad about his character. Everyone likes his character, connects with the character, thinks the performance is honestly captivating, and there's something there that it's just, really, really magical. And I'm really curious to see where he goes and what happens to Balin Skull after this. His confidence really interests me. Talzan, thank you so much for the donation. Coming in another week. I really appreciate it. Xiono and Imperial, his son, is a main character in the animated Resistance show. Ahsoka and Shin are all in white, and let Shin go before it should... That's interesting. Okay. All right, I'll address the first part of this first. So yeah, Xiono is... So you're saying he was previously an Imperial in Star Wars, was it, Resistance? Or no, that's happening later. I don't remember. I haven't watched Resistance. I've seen snippets on YouTube, and I know he's a character from that show. So is he actually a villain? So his son is a main character, and his son is a villain. Can someone tell me that? Has anyone watched Star Wars Resistance? I'm really curious, because obviously this character has like pretty strong views, I guess you'd say. And as a result of that, it's likely he can have, an Imperial tendency, or he can lean more towards that side, and maybe he aligns himself in future with an Imperial remnant or with the First Order. I haven't seen Resistance. Here we go. Kazuto Xiono was the main character of Star Wars Resistance, not a villain. I see. Sorry, my bad. Okay. Well, it's interesting that his father has such a strong personality then, and such a opposition to anything bad happening in the galaxy. Like, you know, he's got a blindness. So how does his son come out of this so different? Kazuda. Yeah, okay. Interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I hope the father or something happens to him because he's really annoying. Or I hope he has a change of heart and comes around. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I want to address the second part of Talzun, your question though. Ahsoka and Shin are all in white, and then she lets Shin go, which is foreshadowing. You're right. So when the first time we saw Ahsoka wear white in this series was a really important moment because it was after she'd had her vision with Anakin and she'd woken up and she was dressed in white. She goes outside, she's smiling, she's changed. It's just before it was last episode before they ride the Purgils to this galaxy. Last episode, the episode before, 2 episodes ago. It goes fast, man. I can't believe there's only one left, but anyway. So yeah, and you're right. And then, yeah, this is the first time we've seen also Shin Hattie wearing white and wearing, you know, more white than we've previously seen. I love her costume design, by the way. It's so cool. She's got those kind of wrist guard vambrace things. They're really awesome to see. I don't know. It's just like something so like intriguing about her character because I think she's kind of on the fence. Yeah, she's kind of on the fence for her. I don't know who she is and where she is in the galaxy and what her intentions are. We don't really know, and she seems to kind of be conflicted, and that's what's been so intriguing about Shin Hattie's character. We don't really know which side she's on and where she's going to land, and I think some part of her almost wanted to take Ahsoka's hand when Ahsoka offered it to her, and she wanted to kind of go that way and go with Ahsoka and, you know, follow a higher purpose rather than being, you know, a villain. And I'm not like, it's going to be interesting to see if she comes around. I really hope her character continues, and I hope that we see, you know, more of what she becomes and who she is. It's just, I don't know, it's a really fascinating character. But the white thing, same thing. So the white to me signals like a change of heart and a change of personality, a change of character, and her kind of coming around to some of the lighter side ideals, I think. And I think that's something we're gonna see evolve. Yeah. And I think it's likely the next episode is gonna be a major turning point for her. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Shin Hattie wearing white, very important. Thanks for that, Talzun. That's something I actually didn't fully pick up on. I noticed it, but I didn't write it down, so I completely forgot. And yes, it is very significant, the fact she's wearing white. Love it. The symbolism in this show, man, it's so interesting. Yeah, so cool. I saw X Infinity 63. Thanks for coming, man. It's good to see you back. Simply Mr. Knight, thank you so much for the donation. Did they make Ezra not take his lightsaber so they could give an excuse to let Sabine keep his saber? And why did they make him so weak? Interesting. I think a bit of both. I think it ties into Ezra's character that he almost after 10 years doesn't want to touch the lightsaber again because he's trying to, I guess, in some ways Ezra is like, he's reached like an inner peace. You'd have to, living 10 years alone on a planet with, you know, people that don't even speak your language, your native language. And being stranded without any of your friends, without family, with nothing. Like, he's left with nothing. So I think that's one part of it. The fact he's kind of just become peaceful, but he's also hesitant to take the lightsaber, I think, because it's something that, it's like a part of his past he's almost not ready to reconnect with yet, I'd say. And also, he probably trusts Sabine to use it. Like, he's, you know, I'm sure he knows Sabine used the Darksaber, and if Sabine has told him that she's been training with Ahsoka, he clearly would think, okay, well, she knows how to wield the lightsaber. I know how to use the Force. I'm just going to use the Force. The other thing is, though, our theory hasn't come true yet that Ezra has learned the green Dathomirian magic, that he didn't wield that in this episode. And in some ways, yes, it did appear that he was kind of weakened. But that kind of makes sense. Like, he's been alone on this planet. And I'm sure he's been meditating and training and, you know, practicing his connection with the Force. But it's something he hasn't really had to kind of engage with. This is his first fight in 10 years, so obviously he's going to be a little sloppy. It did seem like he wasn't really, honestly, that strong in the Force, though. Like, yes and no. I think there was a moment when he fought Shin Hattie, and he kind of, dodged a few of her lightsaber swings, just using his body and blocking with his arms and using the Force to kind of push her back. So clearly, like, he still has like a high level of skill, but at the same time, doesn't want to reconnect with the lightsaber just yet. Maybe he's going to build his own lightsaber, or maybe he's on another journey altogether. Maybe he's going to become a character we haven't really seen before, like a Force user, a Jedi who doesn't necessarily wield a lightsaber. And I think there is still a chance maybe he has learned some other level of the Force we haven't seen him fully use yet. That's just a theory. I mean, our theory with the Night Troopers was completely thrown out, though. Like, he doesn't, we don't have, they weren't resurrected, basically. I love that. We're all like, oh, the Night Troopers, they're wearing like the red, they're like chanting this weird thing, they're the undeads, there's no way they're real. And then this episode, they're just like normal incompetent stormtroopers who get absolutely destroyed. I don't know if you saw the clip I posted last night, guys, but like those 3 of them that run together that get absolutely destroyed by Sabine's wrist rocket is hilarious. First of all, the fact 3 of them are bunched together, all like just running, and Sabine's just like, yep, I'm gonna shoot you. Wrist rocket. Watch those wrist rockets. Classic. I love the wrist rocket. Anytime we see a wrist rocket, it's great. Also, we saw her use the flamethrower, which was pretty sweet too. I don't think we've seen her use the flamethrower. Maybe she did in a previous fight in the series. I don't remember. Anytime we see a flamethrower, it's awesome. But yeah, so incompetent, right? And clearly not the undead. They're just using red cloth to have their armor, stitched together basically because it's falling apart. But also the fact they're all kind of probably getting old now. Do you know what I mean? Like all the stormtroopers, they've been here for 10 years, right? They've been stranded on this planet. They're probably not too happy about that. And their only purpose basically is to serve Thrawn. And clearly they're still devout to him because, but at the same time, do they really have a choice? Like, let's think about these stormtroopers for a second, because they're stranded on a planet that has, is outside their galaxy. They've left all their lives behind. They've left all their lives in the past because the Empire is no more. Their families are in another galaxy. If they even have families, they have nothing. And they don't really have a choice but to stick with Thrawn and to stick with everything that's happening with Thrawn, if they want to return to the main galaxy. I'm not sure. A lot of them aren't happy about it, but when they're deployed to, fight Ahsoka and Sabine and Ezra, they're probably just doing what they're told because they don't really have a choice, man. Like, what else are they going to do? They're going to run out into the wild and live the rest of their life on this barren wasteland? They have to stick with Thrawn and they have to do as they're told. They were just the unlucky ones who were on his Star Destroyer at the time who have been brought to this world that they don't know. It's kind of sad. It's tragic for them. They literally don't have a choice. It's been 10 years. They've been waiting to get back. Imagine that. 10 years and then you get stabbed by this Mandalorian girl who's, slicing you up with a lightsaber. Imagine that. Imagine that's been your life. Pretty funny. I don't know. I found that interesting. When you think about things from the perspective of a stormtrooper, I really I think honestly that's something, not to criticize the sequels, but that's something they could have explored more with Finn's character and the kind of the aftermath of him previously being a stormtrooper. That's still something I would love to see explored deeper in Star Wars, and a series or a show or something, a movie that goes into the life of a stormtrooper and shows kind of who they were. The kind of the stuff they have to deal with on a daily basis, what they believe in, if they're just doing this as a job, if they think the pay is good, if they're scared. And that's something we see kind of a lot of fan films go into, which is something I enjoy a lot, to be honest. There's been quite a few over the years, fan films that kind of look into who a stormtrooper is, the stuff he has to deal with, even like silly stuff like him trying to take his armor off to go to the bathroom. It's funny, man. Like, stuff like that is interesting. How do these guys, yeah. How do they exist, man? Like, what are they doing? What type of life decision, what point at your life do you have to be to make the decision to be like, yeah, I'm going to become a stormtrooper? It's funny. Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. Stormtroopers are interesting characters. Yeah. Yeah, it's like your office is on the Death Star. I know, imagine being one of the guys on the Death Star. There's another thing, right? You're like on the, super galactic battle station. First of all, it's a problem that the fact it's called the Death Star is pretty, it's you have to be a certain kind of person to be like, yeah, I'm going to work at this place that's a Death Star. Maybe they have good tax benefits. Maybe they get like free dental or free medical or something like that. I don't know. But it's a pretty dangerous job. And then, you know, I'm sure Stormtroopers, right? Some of them had their entire like family stationed on the Death Star, right? They lived with them on the Death Star, and then the Death Star exploded, right? And like how many million? 2 million were on it? 1 million? 2 million? Something like that. Everyone's dead. It's pretty dark. Star Wars is dark, man. Luke Skywalker is like the biggest mass murderer of all time, which is pretty creepy if you think about it. But interesting way of looking at Star Wars. Yeah, the guy's controlling the super laser, just getting that radiation. I don't know, man. Yeah. Oh, true. Oh, yes. Nice one, Bryce. Thank you for that. In Lego Star Wars, you can explore the Death Star ruins on, I always forget the name of the planet, Kef Bir. I'm going to say Kef Bir. Is it Kef Bir? I feel like I'm wrong. Tell me it's Kef Bir where the Death Star ruins are. But yeah, you could explore kind of their archives, I guess, and talk to these holograms that experience they're basically ghosts. They're holograms of ghosts on the Death Star, and it's so like funny seeing what they were and seeing the lives they had and how kind of sad it is and the stuff they had to deal with. What a game. Guys, while we're talking about Lego, I want to stream more, like I've been saying, and I've been like planning a few kind of longer challenges I'm going to stream, and I'm going to start streaming some gaming stuff. So what I want to do is a few kind of, I guess, Lego Star Wars challenge runs where I try and complete the game or play through the game, but it's like I'm only allowed to play as a gonk droid, or I have to have the entire Jedi Order with me all at once. Stuff like that. Is that something you guys would want to see and stick around for? I feel like now that I'm getting the hang of this streaming thing, it's something I've wanted to do for years and I've kind of just never had the setup to do it. Now that I'm here though, I really would love to play some games and be on stream for a while and try that kind of thing and play Lego, play even Battlefront, stuff like that. My next video is actually a Battlefront 2 video. I really hope you guys enjoy it. It's a really big video. I'm so excited to put it out there. But yeah, I'm keen on doing that. So let me know if you want to see that, okay? It's going to be fun. I also saw some people talking about PAX. Yes, I'm just going to mention it a few times during the stream so you all know if people are coming in and out of this. I am going to be at PAX Australia in about a week. What's today? Thursday? Today's Thursday. I'm going to be there in, yeah, it's like a week and a day from today. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Not sure which days I'm going to be there. If you're in Australia and going to PAX, come say hi. I'd love to say hi. I would love to see you. Okay. Oh, we got a mention of Zeb. Did you guys notice that? They said he's training recruits, I believe, which was interesting because we haven't seen him in the show, and we obviously saw him in The Mandalorian season 3, I think it was. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure we saw him in The Mandalorian, but cool to like get a Zeb reference, and the first one we've had in this show, and it was the right time for it. You know what I mean? It's the right time to just be like, oh yeah, he's training recruits for the New Republic, which is interesting that he's actually being referenced and he's off somewhere in the galaxy doing something. It was kind of honestly similar to how they referenced Cara Dune's character in Mandalorian, because obviously the actress wasn't part of Mandalorian season 3 for whatever controversy happened. And they kind of had to, give her a place in the galaxy. And they're like, yeah, she's off, she's a general or someone, she's in charge of a certain thing. I don't really remember what they said, but they're doing the same thing for Zeb. And I think it's like animating Zeb is obviously possibly quite challenging because he's a CGI character. But at the same time, it's likely he's going to show up at some later point. Probably, I'm assuming, in Ahsoka season 2 or the next Mandalorian season, or it's going to be in the movie, the grand movie that Dave Filoni's making. I was going to say Grand Admiral Thrawn movie, like he's already returned to the galaxy. Can you imagine? Let's talk about this for a second. Thrawn, there's still a chance that Dave Filoni is planning something different to Thrawn to what we're all expecting. There is a chance he doesn't get back to the galaxy we've we think he's going to, even though he does that in Star Wars, in the expanded Star Wars universe, in Star Wars Legends. Can you, yeah, can you imagine that possibility of that happening? Like, what if Thrawn doesn't actually come back? What if Thrawn somehow gets stuck here and, I don't know, we get a separate series about Thrawn. Maybe there's a separate focus on Thrawn. Maybe he shows up later. Maybe he finds another way back. Maybe he dies. Can you imagine that? Thrawn dies in the next episode. I really don't think they're going to do that because he's such a good villain. And I really think they're going to kind of capitalize on, you know, who he is and maintain that throughout the next, you know, few years. It seems like Thrawn's going to be around for a while, but they could completely throw our expectations. This is like such a good chance. We all kind of already know Thrawn is coming back, right? So what if he doesn't? What if Dave's like, nah, you know what, guys? I'm going to change Star Wars history forever, and I'm going to kill Thrawn, and, you know, someone else, Shin Hattie is the new villain. I don't know. It's an interesting thought. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does, yeah, if Thrawn also has 10 clones of himself, everyone's cloning themselves, like what's his name? Gideon? Oh, why can't I remember? Yeah. Giancarlo Esposito's character, what's his name? Why can't I remember that? Die of heart failure. Jeez, no way. Somehow Grand Admiral Thrawn returned. Yeah, basically. What if none of them come back? That's a great suggestion. I know. What if they all get stuck in this galaxy? What if literally the Ahsoka series is all about them trying to get them back out of this galaxy? The movie. What if the movie is all about them trying to get out of this galaxy? It's an interesting thought. I don't know. It might happen. Premise of the movie is getting them back. This is the other great thing, guys. Like, for the first time in what feels like a long time, I'm really excited to see where this goes. And I've seen some people saying that this episode wasn't necessarily, you know, it was more of a setup episode for everything that's about to happen. But I feel like episode 8, the final episode of this season, is not only going to end on likely a massive cliffhanger, because we know obviously they can't just wrap all this up right now. And, you know, the movie's coming. There's probably another season of Ahsoka coming. There's more Mandalorian coming. Like, there's more happening, right? So it's likely going to end on a cliffhanger, but at the same time, what if, I don't know, at the same time, they still have to, like, you know, really it's a massive payoff in this next episode, right? There's so much that they kind of have to, that's built up from this season. You know, what's happening with Balin's Skull, even what's happening with Shin Hattie. Is Thrawn going to get back on the ship and fly back? What's happening with Morgan Elsbeth? Is she coming with Thrawn? Is she going to stay with the Night Sisters? Are the Night Sisters the mothers coming with them? Is Sabine, you know, Ahsoka and Ezra, are they going to make it back as well? Is one of the characters going to die? There are so many things that can potentially happen in this next episode, and it's because it's the last one. I feel like there's so much that they have to kind of do. And yeah, I really hope, honestly, yeah, I agree. The finale has to be a longer episode, definitely, right? This one was only 35-ish minutes, the previous one that we just watched, so not that long in the scheme of things. And it was like around the shorter end. I think the shortest one for this season was like 31 minutes. But yeah, they can't, there's no way. I'm going to be pretty disappointed if it's like a 35-minute one. Yeah, and I feel like, yeah, honestly, it's going to be sad, and either it's going to end on a cliffhanger and we don't know if a character's died or not. Feel like I said, something has to happen with Balin. Either he's going to sacrifice himself for his greater cause, or he's going to die, or he's going to be stranded on this planet. And yeah, there's a chance that like Ezra or Sabine or someone, or Ahsoka, is going to also die. And it's going to be pretty full on, man. I don't know if I'm emotionally ready for this next episode, if I'm being honest. Like, there's so much that could potentially happen that, yeah. Can you imagine if it's like movie length as well? Yeah, that'd be so cool. Like a 90-minute episode. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be fun, man. I'm really excited to see where it goes, but I also think we can't predict what's going to happen. I think we can have some ideas. Like I said, you know, we don't know what's going to happen with Balin's Skull. Shin Hattie is obviously another rogue element in all this. Like, we don't really know where she's going to land at the end of this. If she's even going to have like a say in what happens in the next episode, if she's going to influence what happens. But the climactic event of this season is about to happen, and it's a massive payoff. And what I was trying to say, I don't think I've been this excited about watching the finale of a season of Star Wars or of any Star Wars in a long time. Andor really got me. Like I loved Andor and the whole, I can't swim thing with Sean Bean's character and Sean Bean? No. What's the guy's name? Oh my god. Andy Serkis. Sorry. Why did I say Sean Bean? That's so weird. But yeah, so many things like in Andor, right? The kind of the ending, we kind of, you just didn't know where it was going to go and where it was going to land. That was thrilling for me. I don't know how much you guys enjoyed Andor. I know it divided like the fan base a bit. I really liked it. Like I rate Andor really highly, and this is doing the same for me. Like the first part of this series was a bit slow, to be honest. Like first 3 episodes really didn't connect with. Since then, it's been nothing but like go. And it's exciting to see where this might land, and having no idea of what's going to happen is what's so thrilling. And man, it's just great right now. Like what a great time to be a Star Wars fan, I think, right? Like what a great time to enjoy a series. The sad thing though is that after this, it's possible we're not going to get Star Wars for quite a while. There's already been rumors that Skeleton Crew, which is supposed to be the next Star Wars series, has been delayed. We don't know when that's been delayed to, likely next year. If it's been delayed, it's just a rumor, like I said. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, really curious about that. Exciting time to be a Star Wars fan. Yeah. I hope as well. I hope there's not like a massive content gap after this. The next thing as well might be Star Wars Outlaws, the Ubisoft game. Good to see you, Tomix. Thanks for coming, man. Oh yeah, Bad Batch Season 3, I forgot about that. Totally. Animation. There's more Tales of the Jedi coming at some point as well, but obviously Dave Filoni's been busy working on this, so I don't know at what point he's also had time to work on Tales of the Jedi, and then also work on Mando Season 4, because I'm sure he's involved in that in some respect, or on some level. But yeah, it just feels like after the next episode of Ahsoka, Star Wars maybe is going to take a bit of a dip again and go quiet for a while, and we're not going to hear much for a little while, which is going to be, in some ways a good thing, but also like, now that we're like here's the other thing. Before Ahsoka started, and before even up to even like, the Anakin cameo at the end, Star Wars was kind of still like on the lowdown. Like Star Wars was really not that popular. People were kind of over it, especially after kind of, a lot of people were disappointed with Obi-Wan Kenobi series. People were disappointed with like Mando Season 3. Like it wasn't on the same level as Mando Season 1 and 2, and some of the other Star Wars, I guess, Andor. So after a few disappointing shows, and the fact like the oversaturation almost of Star Wars, and Disney even kind of acknowledging that, like Bob Iger's CEO kind of said, yeah, we're going to kind of pull back a bit on it. It's, Star Wars was dead around that time. So Ahsoka's really given it another lift, and I'm so seeing that everywhere across the board. Everyone's back to being super excited about Star Wars, which is great. I just don't know how long it's going to last. Like after this show finishes, like I said, there's going to potentially be a large content gap, with the next next series of shows being Bad Batch Season 3, which I think is going to be really good in some ways, but also hopefully doesn't contain too many filler episodes like Season 1 and 2 did, especially Season 2. Some of the filler episodes were just like, man, this is so like taking forever. Like, I don't care. I'm not interested. Like, let's get the main plot going that's focused on the clones and focused on, their lives and where they are after Order 66, and them trying to find their purpose in the galaxy, and the whole conflict between Clone Force 99 and Crosshair and their brother. And it's really interesting stuff, and they don't explore that enough in the show. So that's going to be next. Skeleton Crew, like I said. Ahsoka's hopefully likely getting a Season 2. Hopefully Book of Boba Fett gets us into. There's nothing on the horizon about that, though. We haven't heard anything about that. The next Star Wars films are still years and years away. Like, they're saying the first one is likely going to be 2025. I'm still skeptical about that even making it, though. Like, especially considering the strikes that have gone on in Hollywood recently. I've heard the writer's strike is likely being resolved right now. Like, they're getting back to writing. I think they came to an agreement. But yeah, like I said, huge content gap for Star Wars, and hopefully it's just not dead, and hopefully they fill the space with some interesting stuff. What do you think? Thank you for listening to the rant about where Star Wars is going. Now, to resume our chat about Ahsoka. So, we're going to a reference of the Inquisitorial database. Why does Morgan Elsbeth have access to that? So, here's... You're going to be there, right, at Bryce? Sounds good. Here's the thing, right? Thrawn requested files on... Alright, we're going to talk about Thrawn's reaction. Thrawn requested files on Ahsoka Tano. Morgan Elsbeth gives him an iPad, let's be real, it was an iPad, of... that, and she says, this is what the Inquisitorial database contains on Ahsoka Tano. How does Morgan Elsbeth have access to the Inquisitorial database? That's interesting. How does she still have access to the Inquisitorius, or an Inquisitors? I guess she is likely the one who resurrected Marok, so she's known Inquisitors at some point. But still, you'd think they'd have that thing locked behind, like, so many firewalls and so much security that even she wouldn't be able to get access to it. Maybe she's a master hacker. Just saying. That was interesting. And a cool reference to the Inquisitorial database and the Inquisitors and Fortress Inquisitorius and everything that went around that establishment in the post-Empire period, I guess. The other thing is, I loved Thrawn's reaction to him reading the iPad. He's like... She's like, here's everything we have on Ahsoka Tano. He takes the iPad, he's like looking at it, and then he's like his eyes widen. Did you guys notice that moment? And even for Thrawn, like Thrawn's acting, and I love his acting, the way his face doesn't actually move that much. Like you don't get much expression out of him because of, you know, that's his character, which is super interesting. You know, it's the way Lars Mikkelsen is portraying him. He doesn't move his face much because he's so reserved and so measured in everything he does. Him even widening his eyes a little bit and kind of opening his mouth a little bit was a huge emotional reaction for Thrawn when he learned that Anakin is the one who trained Ahsoka. And the way he like turns to Morgan as well, he's like this, he's like, Anakin trained Ahsoka? Like Anakin, it's so good. Like it was just such a good moment. I love that. Because obviously he knows what Anakin was capable of, and you know, he's like, oh yeah, whatever, there's some Jedi coming to, you know, Ahsoka Tano, whatever, you know, she's just some Jedi, she's coming to like ruin the fun, we can just deal with her, kill her. And then he's like, oh my gosh, it's Anakin's apprentice, I'm in trouble. Like he knows on a level. And he also, like, you know, I think it's like respect for what Anakin was, he's showing here. Respect for knowing that Anakin was powerful and, you know, had skills most Jedi didn't, or had better skills than most Jedi, I guess you could say, and respecting Ahsoka and not underestimating her. And I think, you know, on some level he kind of still is, but he's playing his parts right. Like at the end of this episode, he references time and saying, you know, we've taken time from Ahsoka and that was her most valuable resource, and now we have more time. I don't know what he needs time for, like loading the ship up basically and then escaping the galaxy, and he's just distracting Ahsoka with the Stormtroopers, with Shin Hattie and Balin and stuff. But yeah, really interesting. I don't know, really cool to see that side of it, and to see his reaction to learning about Ahsoka and who her master was, because obviously he knew Anakin back in the Clone Wars. Like he was a general in the Clone Wars, right? So you know, he was on the side of the Republic. Thrawn was. He was a Republic general, right, or a commander, or I don't know his specific role, but they knew each other and they worked together at some point, I think, in the Clone Wars. Like that was showed in the Clone Wars show, right? I could be wrong about that. I can't remember, man. It's been such a long time, but pretty cool. Yes, Thrawn, I think I've heard as well, Thrawn was the first one to figure out, here you go, yeah, thanks Talzan. Thrawn was the first, or one of the first, to figure out that Vader was Anakin, that Anakin had become Darth Vader. And he was one of the only people in the galaxy, I think, that knew that. So obviously he knows what Anakin is capable of and knows his potential, and that's probably what he's most afraid of. And that's part of what he's most afraid of in Ahsoka. The fact that there's like a darkness within her, or a darkness within Anakin, that, you know, could be problematic for his plans of returning to the New Republic. Really cool. Oh, sorry, returning to the galaxy. Yeah. New Republic. Thrawn's like, yep, I'm the new senator in the New Republic. Can you imagine? He never fought in the Clone Wars officially. Oh, he was with Chiss. My bad. Okay. Thank you. Okay. We also what did you think of the Imperial minefield? That's something I don't think we've ever seen on screen in Star Wars, unless it was in a Rebels episode. But I thought that was pretty cool. Like, they come out of Lightspeed in the whale, and the entire, like, you know, space around where they've come out of Lightspeed is just surrounded by mines. So clearly, Thrawn, or, you know, one of those in charge of setting the minefield there, would have had to kind of calculate where people come out of Lightspeed when they're flying towards a planet. I thought that was really interesting that they kind of know where that's going to be. And then, yeah, all the mines go off. Pretty cool. Hopefully, I don't think it killed any of the whales. Like, they seem to have quite good, I don't know, maybe they have like a protective layer of their skin. Do whales have skin? I don't know how it works. They're pergill. I mean, they're space whales. Who knows? But yeah, none of the whales seem to die, but they did jump to Lightspeed to get out of there, which also cool to see. I don't know how. With the thing is, with the mines were basically useless though. They were kind of a distraction. Like, obviously we all knew Ahsoka was going to get out of that minefield. Ahsoka and Huyang were going to get out of the minefield, right? We knew that they weren't going to be killed at that moment. So I don't know. It was just like, wouldn't they put in more mine? Like, how many more mines can they pack in? Still cool to see, and still something we haven't seen before in on screen in Star Wars, as far as I know. Has there been an Imperial minefield before? I thought it was really cool. It was a cool detail, man. The asteroid field as well. Ahsoka's doing like the classic Millennium Falcon Han Solo thing. I think something she even said at that point was like a reference to what Han Solo said. I can't remember specifically what she said, but she was like, yeah, you know, ready to, I don't know. She made some kind of snarky, funny comment about, oh yeah, we'll lose him in the asteroid belt, in the debris field, which is pretty funny. Obviously direct reference. So many references to Empire Strikes Back. That one specifically, I mean, that was the probably most on the nose one, and one of the most iconic moments from that film is when Han Solo evades the TIE fighters through the asteroid field. And then also just even the fact they were like hiding with their ship placed on a piece of I don't know, whatever it was, scrap or something in the asteroid field or ring around the planet, the, you know, debris field. Yeah, but just yeah, like, you know, it's another, I don't know, yeah, like, okay, fair. It's like that rinse and repeat kind of thing, I guess. But it didn't bother me so much. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is like it's a fair tactic for them to use in this situation. So I'll let him go with this one time. You know, sometimes I don't like for example, whenever, I think it was episode 2 when Ahsoka was training Sabine and they're doing the blast shield thing all over again. I was like, really, we're going with this again? Like, it's too much of the same and too repetitive. And I really, that honestly disappointed me, because it's like, we've seen this scene a million times. If you're going to show this scene, at least do it in a different way. Subvert it somehow, you know, show some difference or show some unique way of doing this, a different way to how we've done it for 40 years, basically, since the first Star Wars with the blast shield, right? But they did the same thing. And with the asteroid field in this one, it didn't bother me as much because it was so relevant to what, like, the situation they were in, I guess. And also it did feel kind of different in some ways. Just, I don't know. Part of it, I guess, was almost like just the way it was shot. The stakes, the fact, like, Thrawn was like commanding the ships and telling them what to do from the ground, from his base, I guess, as well. Like, there were more elements at play. So it was different enough that it didn't bother me so much. But yeah, I don't like repetition when it's relying on nostalgia and, you know, tropes of Star Wars that they're just like, yeah, this is what Jedi do. They train with a blast shield over their face. It's like, no, do something different. Make it more fun. Make it interesting for us to actually watch. Another rant. Thank you for listening. I love the podcast. What do you guys think of what are they called? Nutty? No, I can't remember what the guys are called, but, yeah, interesting. The podcast is really cool because it's basically their houses, right? It's like their houses. They basically all live in caravans. They're caravans that they drive around, like camper vans, right? They get in the camper van thing, pack their stuff up, drive to the next location, park it. They're like hover caravans. That's what it was, man. So cool. I love that. And they also have like these naughty, thank you, little naughty. And they have like protective shells, which is awesome. They're like turtles, right? Where not only do they wear the shell on their back and have like a place to hide and can go into the ground. Mobile homes. Yeah, mobile home. Correct. But their homes literally have almost what looks like a protective armor, and the windows and stuff looks like it can basically, is a defense against even blaster bolts and things like that. So that was cool to see. I like this species. I think they're kind of fun. And I'm wondering if Ezra is going to bring some of them back to the main galaxy for whatever reason. I don't think that'd be the case, but even, I don't know, just the way at the end of this episode he was holding the no, what are they called again? Why have I forgot? You all just spammed it in the chat. Naughty. The way he was holding the Naughty's hand was like cute, and it almost like was like the Naughty didn't want to leave him. Like they want to go up with them into space and fly away into another galaxy. Maybe they don't like their homeworld. Maybe this isn't their homeworld. Maybe they got stranded here a long time ago. Maybe they used to ride the Purgil. Who knows? It's Star Wars, man. Anything can happen. Somehow Thrawn returned. Somehow. Yeah, they brought the Worf into the hover bus. Yeah. Great one. Yeah. True. So true, man. Like, yeah, he just comes inside. It's like, yeah, you can come in too. Yeah, just chill. I can't, yeah. Just like, oh, ancient Jawa ancestors. Interesting. They don't seem to be like the scavenging type though, do they? Like the scavenging for scrap kind of thing. It's true though. Maybe everyone's an ancestor on this planet. Like the Dathomirians. This is the original homeworld of the Dathomiri, as they put it. And now we got these little turtle guys as well, who are potentially, maybe they're the ancestors of the Jawas. That's an interesting theory, which would also potentially mean that they're all Sith Lords. I don't know if you guys have seen my theories on Jawas and how they all wear a cloak always, and you only see their yellow eyes. Like they're all little Sith Lords just waiting to kill you in your sleep. You sleep well tonight knowing that, guys. Ahsoka did a reverse Qui-Gon. When Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon dueling with Darth Maul, right? He's dueling with Darth Maul in the desert. First duel on Tatooine when Darth Maul's just using the single-bladed lightsaber. Dueling with Darth Maul. Qui-Gon jumps up onto the landing pad of the ship, gets inside, they fly away in the Naboo ship, right? Ahsoka did the opposite. She walks down the landing pad, is like, all right, I'm going to jump, jumps, and then has a duel with Balin Skull. Pretty cool. I don't know. Reverse Qui-Gon. Enjoyed that moment. Did you guys notice that as well? It's like the reverse of what Qui-Gon did. Although, the difference is, if Ahsoka got stabbed in this duel, she likely would have survived, because we're in the Disney era. And stab wounds mean nothing. Bit savage. Enoch is Jar Jar? No way! Are you serious? No, there's no way he's Jar Jar. We haven't talked about Enoch. Enoch didn't get an actual appearance in this. He was only a hologram for most of it, right? So he's like commanding the fleet, I guess. Commanding all his night troopers, who clearly he's not commanding too well, seeing as though, or he hasn't trained too well, seeing as though their level of competence was, significantly lower than most stormtroopers. Well, I mean, it was about the same as most stormtroopers. I mean, they didn't get a single kill. How many night troopers were there, man? They should have slaughtered the rebels. There were 3 rebels. There was Sabine, Ezra, and Ahsoka shows up. And sure, they're all force sensitive. Sabine, the verdict's still out on Sabine. I mean, she's force sensitive on some level, but they got owned, man. They all died. Like, so Enoch did a terrible job of like commanding them. He's like, yeah, you 3 stand together, get shot by the wrist rocket. I love that that's just a writer's thing as well. It's like, yeah, the writers are like, oh, we want to blow some stormtroopers up with one of Sabine's wrist rockets. Hey, we should just put 3 of them to stand together so it looks more epic having more stormtroopers die at the same time and be blown up by a wrist rocket rather than there just being one. Do you know what I mean? It's funny. I don't know. I enjoyed that. But, yeah, Enoch, as cool as he is, and hopefully we see more of him in the next episode, and maybe he is undead, maybe he's the undead, maybe he has been resurrected. We don't know. Love his mask, love his helmet, really cool. Top tier. But I don't know, maybe, yeah, he really didn't do a good job of commanding his night troopers as well. I like that they've actually decided to call them night troopers as well. They're not just stormtroopers. They're not just stormtroopers who've, repaired their armor a bit. They're actually night troopers, which is kind of funny. I don't know. Yeah. Like, they're literally the same, and it makes no difference who they are and what they do. Chopper is going to make sure that the Senator is killed in an escalator incident. I can see that. It just zaps him accidentally as he's going down the stairs. Oops! Do. Yeah, I can totally see that. That'd be hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, okay. No, I don't think Sabine has her helmet. Is that what you're talking about? So Sabine, seemingly her helmet is still back in the main Star Wars galaxy. Wasn't Huyang was holding it. Huyang has it, I think, right? I think. I'm pretty sure Huyang took it. Like, there was that shot of him standing there looking sad when they thought Ahsoka was dead and when they knew, I think they assumed Sabine had been taken by Balin Skull and the others. So, yeah. She doesn't have her helmet, which is interesting because, like, obviously it's a significant part of her armor and she's been lucky enough to not get shot in the head. And there's actually been a few times, I don't know if you've noticed, but if you slow the frames down when she's being shot by the Stormtroopers, she puts her arm brace in front of her head like this to block a blaster bolt because she's about to get shot. So, she should probably get her helmet back soon. Like, Ahsoka should just drop it off to her now that they're back at the ship. Yeah, but she should really, like, hang on to that thing. Part of it as well, I'm wondering if it's just, like, to show the actor's face. Like, maybe, I think her name is Natasha, wants her face shown, or maybe the writers and show creators just want to show her face because they're trying to have you connect with the character. So maybe they just want her face out and want her expressions out while she's fighting, and most of the time, and don't want to worry about her wearing a helmet. Like, the opposite of the Mandalorian, basically. I'm not sure. Maybe there's some level of that to it as well, but I think she needs to do a better job of hanging on to her helmet. In like Rebels, she only ever fights with her helmet on. I'm pretty sure, right? She almost like only exclusively wears the helmet and uses the helmet during her fight. So yeah. Can we? All right. I've held off on talking about this for a while. Ahsoka's duel with Balin Skull in this episode was, I think, one of the best we've had in the Disney Star Wars era, which is a big thing to say. The first duel they had, the previous one, 2 episodes back, was also one of the most interesting, just because of their saber style and stance and the way, you know, even Balin's character, like the way he looks like he's wielding his saber. It looks heavy. It looks like he's swinging that thing around. It's like the heavy stance in Jedi Survivor almost. It feels that way. And he has a specific lightsaber form. And Ahsoka, obviously, in that duel, the first one, only used a single blade. And just like her technique as opposed to his, they contrast each other. And it's so interesting watching them duel. It's like, it's like a real kind of showdown. Don't know. It has like, his stance has like medieval vibes, whereas hers is more like samurai, especially when she's using the shorter Shoto blade. And this duel, in this one, where she's using the dual stance with both sabers, just the fact they kept the camera far away and let the actors actually fight, and you know, the actors clearly learned a more a more advanced combat, clearly the actors learned a more advanced combat, what do I want to call it, clearly the actors learned a more advanced combat choreography sequence for this episode, which is why they were able to keep the camera back. Because when they put the camera close and you can't really tell what's going on, it's because the actors are just haven't really trained properly in how to fight in this specific duel. But this one was different. Like, there were several times where they were doing some pretty advanced stuff where Ahsoka had her back to Balin and she was like blocking like this and behind, and you know, they were getting all, I don't know, tangled in each other's lightsabers, which was so cool. So cool to see. And they clearly trained more for this and worked more on the choreography. Like, the stunt coordinators and the choreographers had trained them to do this duel and to actually be able to keep the camera back and make it look awesome. I was trying to pause on freeze frame and kind of, you know, watch it back in slow motion and see if it was the actual actors doing those moves. And as far as I can tell, it is. It is actually Rosario Dawson and Ray Stevenson doing them. But at the same time, maybe they've, you know, CGI'd their faces onto them later, which they've done for even the prequels had some of that too. So it's kind of hard to tell if it's actually them doing all of the moves, especially because they were quite advanced, and it's hard to imagine that they, you know, I'm sure it's been sped up as well. That's the other thing. I'm sure they've increased the speed of the duel from what it was originally performed and shot at. But so good that they kept the camera back. And honestly, this is the level I'm expecting. When you see a lightsaber duel, you want to be wowed by their moves and by their choreography. Lightsabers should be elegant weapons. They should be these mystical, like awesome things that you can kind of, it's like eye candy watching it. Do you know what I mean? You want to see the different blocks, the different maneuvers, the different swings, the spins. And this duel had all of that, even though it was short, and it was so short, and that's probably part of why it was short, because they can only learn so much. I'm sure it took weeks to learn that choreographed, sequence, and yeah, and do it. I don't know, really impressed by it, and want to see more of that style of lightsaber duel where they're actually able to keep the camera back for longer. For example, Shin Hattie's duel with Sabine, parts of it were okay, where they had the camera on a wide shot and were let the actors do the moves, but too much of it felt like it was too close and you didn't see like the hits and stuff, and that's always disappointing to me. There were some parts that were okay, but this one in particular that we saw today or like yesterday, so good. Like, and I hope that in the next episode we see more of that and we see another one. Obviously it's hard with kind of the tight turnaround of these shows, and I know they're making them in a limited amount of time, and the actors don't necessarily get to train for months and months and months like they do for a movie, for a feature film, which Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor got to train for months. They were doing saber moves for months before they could, make the prequels, which is part of why the prequel duels are so incredible. There's many reasons. Nick Gillard, the stunt coordinator, also did a tremendous job of he also tried to like tell a story through the duel, which definitely comes across. There's so much emotion and passion in the duel, and I think we're finally starting to see some of that come through in Ahsoka, and that's really impressive and something I hope we get more of in future Star Wars and hopefully in the next episode. Favorite duel, right? Like, do you guys, I've seen you're all agreeing. I love that. I love that you're all saying yes, like you agree. Um, yeah, it was just like more advanced prequel. Yeah, like I wouldn't say it even felt like a prequel era duel. It just felt like, you know, it felt real. It felt like it felt like they were great force wielders too. And that's part of why I think it felt good. Why this duel was so good, because the moves and techniques were so like different and advanced, especially seeing Ahsoka finally use the dual blades in, an extended duel like this. It just had like so much more development in it. Yeah, yeah. It felt like they were both so strong in the force because they were anticipating each other's moves. Like, it didn't feel like just two guys with swords who aren't force sensitive. It was like, no, these two are like very experienced. They're the the basically peak Jedi of the show, right? Balin Skoll's been a Jedi since the Jedi Order days. Ahsoka's Anakin's apprentice. It's two like heavyweights coming together, and that's why it was so much fun to watch. I wouldn't say anyone won the duel as well. Ahsoka escaped. She, I guess, used Huyang's distraction to get out of there. So, yeah. I think they're going to face off once more in the next episode. I really hope they do anyway. I hope we see more of Balin dueling and using a lightsaber, because it's definitely one of the peak moments of the show. For me, anyway. I really enjoy it. Yep. Ezra as well. Let's talk a bit about Ezra. I really like Ezra's portrayal in this show. Iman Esfandi, I think that's how you say his name. I think he's doing a great job. I think he's doing a great job of portraying Ezra in a similar way to how he felt in Star Wars Rebels. His character feels kind of on point and true to what he was in animated version. And even just like some of his mannerisms, some of his line deliveries, and some of the way he's kind of, I don't know, just the way he's portraying the character, the way he's embodying what that character means. And he's a bit cheeky as well. He's like a bit playful. He's funny, like he's got a sense of humor. And I think it's so, I don't know, I just think like he's written well, but also, yeah, the actor is doing a great job of portraying the character. And it's so interesting. They've never really, I think this is really strange in some ways, because his character still hasn't really had like a close-up shot. Most of the other characters in the show, they've really like, at least one or two shots of just their face, whereas Ezra, I think there was maybe one shot in this entire episode where you saw his face up close, which was interesting. And I don't know why. It's like they're kind of keeping him still a bit of a mystery. Like we still don't know about his past. We don't know what he's been doing here all these years. Like there's still some mystery there. And I'm not saying we can't trust Ezra at this point. He seems like, okay, there's nothing really that dodgy going on. It feels that way anyway. I don't know. When we were first introduced to him at the end of last week's episode, it felt like maybe there's something strange here. Maybe he's learned the dark side. Maybe he's tapped into that. Maybe he's, I don't know, got some secret that he's not going to reveal to us until the end of this, or that's going to come out later on. And it doesn't feel that way necessarily anymore. It just feels like the old Ezra's back, and he's just been waiting all these years and training and staying alive and chilling with the naughty. And here he is. He's coming back, and he's his old cheeky, playful, fun self. But yeah, they haven't given the character a full close-up, which is interesting because part of it as well, obviously the actor is wearing, I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's wearing the contact lenses. There's no way his eyes are that blue. I think he's got brown eyes. So, and the eyes are so striking. They're so striking in the show. Like seeing his blue eyes, there's something so vibrant about them. And I think the fact they contrast his dark hair, especially, is really interesting. I don't know why. Yeah, they just haven't like focused on his face though. But yeah, it reminds you of Spider-Man's sense of humor. Yeah, like okay, I can see that actually, like from the Tobey Maguire kind of Spider-Man, right? Where he's like he knows he's powerful. He knows he's like, kind of got superpowers, but he's also like gets himself into trouble, I guess, and is like a bit clumsy in some ways in his fighting style or in his interactions and movements. Yeah, interesting. I'm really enjoying his character though. All right, what do you guys think are in the caskets or boxes and crates that Thrawn is transporting to the main Star Wars galaxy? What do you think is actually in them? I don't know. I don't think this is a plot hole, but I just have something I want to ask you guys. Why? How do I want to word this? Okay, why did Thrawn have to wait to load them up into the Star Destroyer? Why did he not do this before, like, Morgan Elsbeth arrived? Like, why does he have to wait? Because he's putting them all in the Star Destroyer, right? He's not loading them onto the ship that's in the sky, right? He's putting them on the Star Destroyer. The Star Destroyer is going to fly up to the Eye of Sion ship that they travel to this galaxy in, and then they're going to jump to Lightspeed after they, like, connect, basically. Like, the Star Destroyer is likely going to fit into place, and they're going to jump to Lightspeed. Why did he have to wait to take whatever these things from the catacombs are up into his Star Destroyer? Why didn't he have them ready? I'm wondering if it's because there's like a time sensitivity with them. Maybe like the ruins or whatever's in the crates will be, I don't know, like tarnished. Maybe something will go wrong with them. Like maybe they'll deteriorate if they're taken out of the catacombs too soon. Also, maybe Thrawn didn't know exactly when Morgan Elsbeth and the others were going to arrive. Maybe they'd been waiting for years, and it's like, okay, the Night Sister, the mothers, the Great Mothers had told him it's probably going to be around this time. We don't know exactly when, but it might be around this time. And he was kind of just waiting, so they didn't prepare that and couldn't prepare that. I don't know, like why? Yeah, why? It's a trap? Yeah. Yeah, to make a grand entrance, exactly. That's, yeah, obviously it's part of the drama of the show and just the spectacle of they need to give the character like a huge performance kind of thing, and a huge entrance. It's like, significant to the show. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting though. Interesting that he didn't just have it all loaded up. I think, yeah, what did they say? It's going to take like 3 rotations. Did they also need to recharge the ship? I think that was part of it as well, from memory. I could be wrong, but I think they needed to recharge the Eye of Sion thing, the big hyperspace ring. Is that something they needed to do as well? They needed to recharge that to actually get back to the main galaxy because it had used all its energy. What do you think? Yeah, they had to waste time. Something to do with Night Sister magic. Yeah, agree with that. Okay, you don't think it has anything to do with the Night Sister witches. Oh, Night Sister magic liquid stuff. Could be frozen. Yeah, they needed to cast spells. Thrawn's just lazy. I I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. A bunch of theories out there. Halo ring, is that what you're calling it? That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, right? Not sure. All right, guys, do you have any questions? I'm gonna answer a few more of your questions. If you have any questions about the show, I'm gonna just take this chance again, remind you, I'm gonna be at PAX next week, PAX Australia. It's in Melbourne. It's a gaming convention event. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be sharing more on my Instagram about that. I'm thinking of even streaming from the event. Like, I could totally go on YouTube and hold my phone up like this and stream like I'm there and show you guys around and, I don't know, stream the meet and greets. I'm not sure. It could be fun. But yeah, if you want to come meet, if you want to come say hi, and if you want to just come to a gaming convention in Melbourne next week, PAX, come, I'll be there. And I'm going to post when and where I'll be on my Instagram. So come follow me on Instagram if you're not already. It's in the city in Melbourne. It's in like the convention center, I think. Yeah. I'm also obviously going to be streaming next week after the Ahsoka episode. Next week's stream should be like normal time, like the last few weeks have been like, yeah, right after the episode. So if you're around, come for that. That'll be lots of fun. Yeah, oh yeah, we haven't seen Jason Sandula in a few episodes. I wonder where he is. We didn't see him in this episode. I don't think he showed up anyway, did he? No. He's just chilling somewhere in the background, getting himself into trouble. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. Lego Star Wars video is still in development. It's still coming. I am still working on the script. I've filmed a bunch of stuff for it. The grand finale is coming of what's happening with all the characters in the Bombastic verse. It's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited to share it with you. I've got another video coming out before that. It's a Battlefront 2 video. It's going to be heaps of fun. Another really large video. And this is the thing, like the kind of content I guess I'm making has changed a bit. I'm making like every video I make seems like a big project. Like it's much larger. Than, for example, like the Minecraft one or that other Battlefront 2 one I made, or even the latest Lego video I made, which was a few weeks ago now. But yeah, I'm going to get back to like more Lego videos for sure. And I've got some other stuff on the way. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really excited for where things are going though. Like I'm so excited for kind of the content I'm making, the stuff that's going to be coming out real soon. And I hope you guys just like all enjoy it. And that's honestly huge motivation for making it, is just like knowing what you guys get out of it and seeing your reactions and your comments and like seeing you laugh and doing these streams is part of that too. It's like so much fun to chat with you guys and actually be able to interact with you live and engage with your thoughts, but also see you, you know, reacting to it all. The Gonks are definitely taking over the galaxy, and they've already done so, but there's going to be a huge plot twist and you're going to see what happens. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Before you leave, you could do me a huge favor and like the video. Also, come follow me on Instagram. Like I said, PAX next week. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be streaming next week right after Ahsoka as well. I hope you come for that. And so good to see you all here again today. Thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you next week. All right. Thank you so much, guys. See you then. Bye.